Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about LED screens, trends about LED screens and how the future looks and what you can use LED screens for. I'm sorry for speaking English, but my Danish is so bad that you cannot understand it. So that's why we are doing it that way. Yeah, the names are here. We will share all contact details for you afterwards, so you know who we are. We also have a fourth person, Mr. Mackenzie, who is the technical sales engineer on LFD, but most of you might have known him since he has been in LG for like 20 years, close to something like that. So that's very good. Then we always have a little bit talk about what we care about inside LG. And one of the things we care about is, of course, environment, so carbon neutrality and circularity and clean technology. These are the things that matters to us, and also about people, how we treat each other, and also make space for all people despite of diversity. So this is also on our mind. If you are interested, we do a report every year, which is available on our website. So this also means when you are bidding into huge tenders, it's more and more become a thing that you can show how things are produced, how you are using your carbon footprint and so on. These are all available on our website, and we will of course share the links for that also. So, but before we deep dive into all products stuff and a lot of numbers and a lot of different words and how LED works, let me tell you a story about LED, because LED is, as you might know, rapidly growing around the world, and we see more and more screens coming up everywhere. This is in New York, Times Square. Some of you have been there, and this is the LG screen put up there. It is in that square that companies like us are putting up screens for free just to showcase what we are capable of doing. And this is one of the screens that we have over there, of course. Screens are becoming more and more a part of buildings, also environment around in the city, and we will get used to see more and more screens around the world and also in the cities when we go there. And there is a reason for that. Not only commercial, but also we want to be entertained. If you remember back in the 90s, there was huge shopping malls, everywhere shopping malls. During the zeros or the late 90s, these shopping malls started to close down because we didn't get entertained anymore. We have seen it all. And this is how the brain works. This is how humanity works. We want to get entertained. So if we get entertained somewhere, we will more often go there until a place that we know and we know everything about. So this is how it works. That's also why we see screens coming up indoor and outdoor, doing art, doing information, doing different tasks. So this is also a thing. In the Nordics, we are a bit different, because if you own a shoe shop in Spain, for instance, you're 100% going to fill the whole end wall, regardless the side, with LED, because that's how you do it in Spain. But in the Nordics, we think a little bit more about what we purchase and how we use our money. So if we own a small shoe shop, we might not even get a display in the window, because that's how we think. So we are different, but this is still coming, and it's also coming to us in the Nordic. So during the next couple of years, we will see a lot of screens, both inside and outside, of course, also. So this was just 3 examples of what's going on out there, and all these screens are real. So this is actually happening around the world. One of the things that has become extremely popular during the past year is these anamorphic screens, which are also called 3D screens. It looks like things are coming out of the screen. Some of you might have seen this polar bear, which is actually running there. This is what we call an eye-catching place. This is very popular for people doing Instagram and stuff like that. So they will just be placed down here like me with the phone doing a selfie where you can see the screen in the back. That's actually quite clever. But what nobody thinks about in that screen, where this polar bear is dancing and falling out, screaming the whole day, looking amazing exactly, actually also, is that this is not a commercial. This is just to catch your eye. So this is a new way to do advertising, because you need people's focus to be looking into a screen like this. But what is really happening is the poster next to, that's the advertisement. It's there 24/7, because when you drove by there by a car, you can see the screen for maybe 1.5 seconds. That's it. Unless you're stopping for red light. So this is actually what it's all about. Advertisement coming next to the screen is just to catch your eye. And when you see a polar bear like this falling out, you make you smile immediately. So it makes you happy. So when you're leaving this square, you will be happy and sad, and you have just seen an advertising for something. My Korean is even better than my Danish, so I do not know what we're advertising. But now you have connected being happy with a nice advertise, and everybody knows this spot because of the polar bear. Everybody is waiting for the next movie. What will be the next thing coming out of the screen? So now we have created a really happy space in city center. What more can you like? That's really a benefit of this. And it's all done not because of the LED, but the use of the LED. And that has been the thing where we need to transform all our sales to going, we need to talk about purpose. Because we have only talked about sizes, pixel distance, and so on. We need to figure out what should the screen be done and be used for. So this is what it's all about. Another thing is this fantastic screen. This is from Budapest, actually. There was some guys down there having this office building. They put up a huge screen and they got a lot of complaints. Everybody thought, this is ugly, too much light. Now we can't see the stars anymore. There was complaints over everything. And how come they earn so many money that they can light up the screen 24/7? Then they invented a platform for digital artists, because digital artists are also growing rapidly, like 600-700% a year. On this portal right now, there's uploading 15,000 pieces of art every 24 hours, which means a lot of content is coming in. There is a system where the artists get awarded. He do not know if he is getting published or not. He will get the money 3 days after he has been published. But the thing that is happening now is that this has grown to all over the world. So now these artists are telling people they know around the world, please take a look at that screen tonight. Most likely it's at midnight the art show starts. And they will do a lot of Instagram pictures down there again. Because if they get published, of course they can put it into the portfolio, they get a little bit of money, and now they have been published on a big square. Times Square, New York, my son is actually there at the moment. He posted me a video from 2 days ago where he saw these arts things changed it at midnight. So this is another way to use it also. There was a consulting office that did a measuring on this building. The brand value on that office building raised 6,000% after they changed to art. Now the screen was no longer just a pain in the ass. Nobody cares about the stars, nobody cares about anything. Now it's just art, and it starts to contribute to the community. And again, they make a happy place. So now this office building, every time people are walking by it, they smile, because this is a nice place, this is where the art is, they are giving back to the community. So that's quite cool. In Asia, of course, they took it to the next step. So they have now started building structures, putting screens on, looking like this. But this will also be next level screens we will see maybe in 10 years in the Nordic, because we are not that fast movers as they are down there, or in the US, for instance. This art thing in the US has exploded. I read an article a few months ago where they have a platform on the 3rd month when it was alive. It has 16,000 pieces of art, brand new. So that's this is going to be huge. The thing is that you actually buy the right to publish the art for like 1 hour to 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever, and then you can change it as often as you want. So we will also see galleries coming on with only screens where different arts will come up. So that's quite interesting for us in the business we are in, because we will see that in the future, 100%. This is the screen we have. I just want to show the movie because, yeah, that's the company thing. So LG is represented at the New York Times, in New York on Times Square. So that's... I mean, it looks impressive when it's done right and you're standing in the right position. We have showcased it on ISE a few times now, and it's it's quite cool. So LED screens are much more than just a plain flat screen on the wall in a conference room or on outside of the building advertising for some kind of factory, store or whatever. We also on this one do a hotel lobby where there is like 10 meters to the ceiling, and then they have done a screen on top of this. So this is actually looking up on the screen now, but looks like flowers is coming out of the pole. So we can do a lot of things, and of course also we can do the more regular screens like the one we are looking at. This is not an LED screen, but something similar could be done in LED also. Yeah, very important that there are so many things. So when we look into LED market at the moment, we see four trends at the moment. And one of them is what we call big LED landmarks. And that's what we were talking about before with the polar bear and stuff like that, where you have a huge screen that makes a landmark. People are talking about it, say, okay, let's meet below the polar bear. Let's meet somewhere where the screen is. That's a landmark. It could also be a shopping center, which a landmark also have inside. We see more and more. Then we see people hanging objects coming on also, because a few years ago LED was only going on the wall, but now we have seen more and more screens coming in different structures, in different sizes, in different figures and so on, and also as hanging objects. So hanging objects we often see indoor, screens coming down from the ceiling and so on. So this is also a trend coming in. And then of course these media art sculpture where they are putting up a screen only for art purpose. That's also very interesting. And often a market that used to be a bit closed. You need to know somebody inside this art community to be able to bid on it. But it's becoming more and more public everywhere. And then, of course, wow experience. And wow experience is actually the thing growing most rapidly when we look at the trends now. So if we are choosing a restaurant, we often choose it because of either it's cozy, or we know somebody owns it, or we like the food very well. But if we can see from the entrance of the restaurant already, if we don't know the restaurant, we may be in a new city, if we get a wow effect, we are often more likely to go in there and see what's going on. So today it's not just about going out, having a good meal, it's also about getting experienced or get a new experience in there. So this could be, for instance, like here where there is a LED roof or ceiling. So actually they can change the whole environment in there and the whole feeling and mood how you are. And mood is one of the things we are really talking a lot about also when we go into the corporate business. So this is the Lotus shop in Oslo. They have recently rebuilt 4 brand stores where they want to sell these cars. This is expensive cars, but they do sell one nearly each day because of this experience. So when a client walks into a Lotus store, they do not only buy a car, they buy a story. But the story needs to be told for those who don't know it. So that's why they have put up a lot of screens and a lot of interaction things into this shop so you can start feeling the story when you're going to buy the car. And in this showroom, there are only 2 cars. The rest is the story. Then I asked the guy up there and say, how many of these cars do you sell a year? And he said, none of these, but these are for the women. These are the cars women mostly buy in Lotus. These are these 2 SUVs. The guys, they buy the small, fast race cars instead. So why don't you have the race cars? No, because we don't need, because the guy know already what he wants. So I can just tell him the story around in the store and say, this is what you get. And he already knows. So when I say this car has 600 horsepower, he already knows. And when he said, you can get it in blue, yellow, red, and gray. And he said, yeah, you forgot black, because he already knows. But when you look into the female side, it's a bit different. They are asking, how come it is so high when I need to lift in my bags in the back, in the trunk? And they say, yeah, but that's no problem. Just press this button and then the air suspension will lower it so you can easily put your bags in. And that's not to be rude or to be stereotype or anything like that, but that's how our brains work. Men often spend time putting themselves into a position where they know what they want. Female often look into the practical thing about it. And that's okay, but these are things we can work with when we're doing selling. So that's why we can use screens also for storytelling and also putting people in the right direction when they go into the store or into the shop. So for retail, screens are much more important than we have ever thought before. I think we have known it, but we have never used it. Now we have different options, not just putting in a regular TV, but we can actually build whatever we want to build of these modular LED. That's quite cool. This is from the office in France, Salesforce. Some of you might know this silly program, but they wanted a new entrance. They have a lot of people coming into this building, taking the elevator up to the office, doing a lot of work, going all the way down again and enter the building just to go home, have fun or whatever. So what they want to do is they would like to set the mood. So whenever you enter this building, they want people to be in a specific mood. So that's why they put up stuff like this. This is from the afternoon, people going home a bit fast. Come on, let's get out, do your life. In the morning, trees and flowers are growing easily. So when you get in there, it's nice, it's calm, I want to be here. The idea about this thing is that inside LG, we have a huge design department who can help you out figuring out these things, because this is not just something that you build on an afternoon. This needs to be designed. And what we do was, together with the design team, they did a 3D model of the whole building. So this is the process about LG. We also have the power and the muscles to be able to help you building these things, also designing and also visualizing like this. So this was the drawing, the final drawing, when they have been talking about what do we want. And as you saw before, this is how it ended up. So it's quite similar to these things. So this can also be a thing from LG, not overnight or in a week. This took like 6 months to develop, but it can be done if you have projects like this. So we are a huge company in that way. Yes. Okay, this was a part of the trend thing. So now we're going to talk more about specific LG LED. And the first question is why? Because there is like thousands of LED vendors out there. There is a lot. And I normally used to say to guys talking to me, give me your best price and 15 minutes and I'll find you a better price. Because that's what these possibilities are out there. You can always, every day, find cheap LED. The thing is just, how's the quality? How's the back office? And can you buy a new one tomorrow? That's the three factors that's all about. And LG inside, in all due respect, I think we are among the 5 or 6 biggest company doing LED in the world. So that means we will probably be here tomorrow. I think so. I hope so. And also, we know we are not cheapest. We also know we are not the best, but we are part of the best. And we are in the middle range around price. And if you get a price from us, don't be afraid to ask us again if the price is good enough, or show if we have another. But also be in mind, even if you have a very good price, you can always find a better one. It's not sure that it's the same product, but you can always find a better one. And that's how LED is at the moment, because everybody knows that this is the future. So everybody wants to get the piece of the cake. So they just decide how many of our money that we earn on top do we want to reinvest to get into the market. That's how it is. We have produced LED and electronic parts for quite some time, so we are not that, maybe not that eager to run as fast as some of the small companies. If you go to Shenzhen down in China to see these factories, there are like 3,000 factories, door by door, producing all the same. And inside LG, we do not produce everything because we are not good at aluminum. So we do not produce cabinets, we buy them as the rest of the world do. For instance, our power supplies are also used in different other brands. And that's how it is like cars. So when you buy a Volkswagen or if you buy a Skoda, they could look the same, but with different brands. That's the same way LED market works. All lamps are produced in China, even though they say, yeah, but this is produced in Europe. It's not. It's produced in China because that's where the material is. So it's too expensive to take the material to Europe and then produce it up here. So that's why. But they are shipping the parts and then they are sampling all the parts in Europe, and we do the same. That's how the market is at the moment. But if you ask why LED, From LG, I just asked ChatGPT because that's what people do nowadays. They ask ChatGPT. Back in the days, it was Google, so Google is a bit outraged of the ChatGPT. So it's something about quality, innovation, reliability, design, customer support, environment commitment, and innovation leadership. And that's exactly also the points that I want to talk about before I did the chat thing, because this is what it's all about. As I said in the beginning, we are not the cheapest. We know that. But we do good products. We are not first movers also, we know that, but the products we put out are more or less quality products. Of course, we make a bad product from time to time. Everybody do that. Everybody do that. So this is how it is. If we look into products in LED, I think number one benefit by buying LED from LG is the WebOS thing. The WebOS is our platform controlling screens, LED, and so on, which means you can actually nowadays buy a screen from LG from 22 inch to like 400 and whatever inch you want, with the same settings in all screens. You can also, on our Connected Care, which is our maintenance tool, you can also see all the screens. So if you have the normal large format display, you can also see the LED screens inside that. And that's actually very clever if you want to have a maintenance system. The same if you go for our SuperSign Cloud, which is our content manager. You can also push this content out to our LED screens, because our LED screen is end of day just a big display. So with WebOS, we just separate the technology. We don't care if it's LFD, if it's LED or whatever. To us, it's just a screen, regardless the size. And that's really, really clever. So if you're working in huge corporate companies, this could really benefit. Because imagine a company in whatever size who didn't manage their IT system, who didn't know what was in the switch gear out there. This will never work. We should work also looking into that in our AV system, so we can do that. And with the Connected Care, we actually have this possibility. We can do surveillance on our system, but we can also program it and so on. This is clever. WebOS is the main reason to buy LG LED. So now we get into the more technical part of our products. And if you have any questions, just raise them right away. Let's talk about it. That's okay. And if you don't feel asking it in English, then just do it in Swedish. I do understand a bit Swedish. I will reply in English, but that's okay. Or Richard will do the translation, so no problem. We were back in like 2.5, 3 years ago, we started the first all-in-one product, because we have this thinking about, we don't care about technology. We just want to sell you a screen, regardless how big it is. If it's LED, LFD, or whatever, we just want a LCD or whatever, we want to sell it. So we invented 3 sizes of screens with the same settings as the rest of our portfolio. Now we're just talking LED screens instead. But it still comes in one screen, all in the same box, and you just need to order this. So we invented the 136 and the 163 inch screen, which is a 1.5 millimeter and a 1.8 millimeters. There is a lot of talking about millimeters in general. On millimeters, we are talking about pixel pitch, which is the distance from center pixels to the next center pixels. But that's also a bit of a lie, because there's no standard for that, which means some of the very clever Chinese people, they are measuring the package from the inside to the inside, which often makes it much smaller. So if you come back and say, yeah, Lars, I have seen a LED screen that's only 0.3 millimeters. Yeah, that's good, because they are probably measuring on the inside, to the inside of package, instead of the center to the center. So you need to open your eyes when you're looking into these things, because there are a lot of different ways to do this. But we do it, as I said, as a 1.8 and a 1.5. And then also we do it as a 21:9 screen in the same series. So that's the 3 all-in-ones we still have available. You have probably seen them on our social medias. They are all over. We have sold a lot of units around, also in Sweden. So this is a product really running fast. We do it also all in one as what we call magnet. And magnet is our micro LED serious. And even though we are from LG, we still owe Samsung a big thank you, because they put a lot of money into the wall campaign. So everybody is now thinking, regardless what screen they buy from Samsung, this is the wall. It is sometimes it's not, but who cares? They really branded micro LED, and that's also why we are selling micro LED now, because in the beginning it was too expensive for everybody, but now people are starting to buy it anyway, even though it's still expensive. So that's...
Yeah, Lars, sorry, we have a question.
Yeah.
From the web. Is there a 3D setup on a facade somewhere in Sweden or in the Nordics that you can see live?
We are a small company, so we only do like 250 installations a month. So I'm sorry, I cannot answer right now if there's a 3D. Yeah, there actually is, not in Sweden, but we do have one in Copenhagen. But I need to check up on Sweden if we have one.
I know that we don't have.
We don't have any.
We don't have
okay,
any. Not 3D in Sweden.
Okay, but you are.
But we are starting to do more and more cool things.
Yes,
but 3D not yet.
No, but let me explain that the 3D is not 3D. It's just cheating your eyes. We call it anamorphic contents. So it's all about creating a screen where you have a curved around, where you make the screen a bit smaller. So you actually make like there is a part of the building around the surface, and then the figure is moving out and up in that screen, which is now showcasing the wall or whatever it's hanging. So it's just an cheating your eye effect. So the screen is not specific. It's the exact same screen that is on the wall, for instance. So it's not a special 3D something. It's just the way it's built and the contents it's made. That's what it's all about. Yeah. But then I want to talk about, in our portfolio, we have like 107, 8, 9, 10 different cabinets, depending on what day we are at. But this is what we're looking for. And this is, of course, because we need to adjust different things. That could be pixel size, that could be design size, that could also be cabinet size. And of course, the more space you have inside the cabinet, the more you can choose your components, which you can affect the price. If you make a small cabinet, you can choose LED components, and then of course the price goes up a bit. So this is all for adjusting the price, the brightness, the power consumption, the weight, and so on. That's why we have so many cabinets. But what we are focusing on most for what we call surface mount, which is screen put on to a wall, for instance, is these two models. LSBE, LSCB. Don't recall these names, just remember them. Just call Rikard when you have a screen, and he can guide you easily, and he will consult me if needed. So that's cool. But the one we'll talk about now is the LSBE, and we will come back to the specs on that. But this is normally used for screens like this. Screens that are bigger than a normal TV, but you can still build it directly on a wall, or you can put it into a hole like this so it looks nice. This is in a fitness center somewhere in Norway, where they want to watch Formula when they are training. That's also good. And also, what we have is it's this 800-inch cabinet. It's a 24/7. That's most likely all LED, and of course 100,000 hours, which is 10 years, 24/7. And it comes in 1, 2, 1, 5, 1, 8, 2, 5. That's the most common pixel sizes required in the market now. So it's from 1.2 millimeters up to 2.5. And imagine 1.2 millimeters between the two lamps. That's very close, very narrow actually. So we are down in close to fine pitch now in these cabinets. These can be built in corners also if you like. So we can do these anamorphic or 3D screens also with this cabinet. The cabinet is very small. It's only 60 centimeters wide and 33.7 centimeters high. So it's very, very small cabinet, 7 kilos. So you are actually allowed to go on top of a ladder alone with it in all Nordic countries. Some of the other guys are having bigger cabinets, and that makes it difficult to install because you can only lift, I think it's 11 kilo in Sweden, on the top of a ladder. So there are rules for that also. So this is why we built it in that size.
I think also with these pixel pitch from 1.2 up to 2.5, you cover around 80% of the need for indoor.
Exactly. So this is another installation we did on a huge telephone company in Sweden. Yes, in Stockholm also. So this is normally use these products for surface mount, we call it, or ceiling mount also. So this actually goes into the ceiling. Not all LED can go into the ceiling, it depends on how it's built. This one goes into the ceiling also. This is not finished all the way, and that's why all the cabling is coming out. This was the last day on commissioning, so I took the pictures there when we got the first picture on, and it's quite nice. When it comes to LED cabinets, there are two types of cabinets. The one was the one you just saw, which we call surface mount, which is a full cabinet size. It's closed on the back side, which there are no cable, no electronic parts, no nothing on the back side. So you can actually mount it out in the room also, because it's nice to look on the back side, also like a television closed. Then we have cabinets like this one. This is an open cabinet, which we call a rental cabinet. The benefit of a cabinet like this is that now we can hang it, and it can actually carry each other underneath, so you can just hang it onto each other. The other one needs to go into a structure and be placed on top of each other. So this can actually get a hanging bar on top, and then you can go like 20 cabinets all the way down, and you can go as wide as you want. So this is very good for indoor use. For instance, in a shopping center where you want a screen in the window, it's difficult to build screen in the windows unless you stack them on the floor. This can be stacked also, so you can start building it on foot and then just go as high and wide as you want. This is quite nice also. So this is a different cabinet. It comes from 1.8, 2.6 and 3.9, and this is the second range that we see most likely. But for rental cabinet, this is what the market prefers at the moment. So if you go to a concert, for instance, these are also the sizes they are requesting there. So that's quite nice. And this could be products like this, where you see this is an airport thing, where you probably would like to hang something. It's often more easy to install a hanging screen, because when you put something on a wall in most countries, you need to certify the wall first if it can carry the weight. But if you do it hanging, most likely all roofers are calculated how many kilo are you allowed to hang into the wall. So this is more often easier to do. A thing is also, on these cabinets, you don't need to buy a structure, so the structure value is reduced in this one, of course, because the structure is in the cabinet. That's quite cool. Yeah, then it's fast installation, because these things are quick locked together with just a pin. You up and close, and then it's locked. So it's quite cool also. Small cabinet, 500 or 500 times 1,000 and wide. So you can also build a huge screen quite fast. Yeah, that's it. Front and rear service. So you can install it, and you can service it from rear side if you like, and also from front side, depending on what the options are. So that also means you can actually hang it in front of a wall if the wall is not classified for hanging or for installing into, but the roof or the ceiling is classified for that. Then you can hang it in front of a wall and still service it from front side if needed. So that's quite cool. Let's jump on to the next product. This is my favorite product. I really like this one. We are still in the rental cabinet, so these are also without structure. These can be hanged or stacked, but you can also surface mount it if you like, but you don't need a structure because it's already on the cabinet. But the good thing about this one, it's a 3,500 nits, so you can actually put it to a window and see it in direct sunlight. That's quite cool. Really, really cool. I like this product very much. We are the only well-known brand who has a product like this. Most likely the other guys around in well-known brands, they are stopping around 1,200 nits. So this is quite cool. 3,500, that's still a lot of light into a screen. We do have it in 2.6, 2.9 and 3.9, so that is also, yeah, really, really cool in my opinion. This is from Copenhagen, the 3D I mentioned before when they were building it. And this is what it looks like when it was finished. And they do 3D anamorphic concept on this one also, so it's quite nice. It's in central Copenhagen, called Frederiksberg Center, which is a shopping mall. So if you ever go there, go and see it. It's quite impressive. It's 8 meters in total and 4 meters high, so it's a huge one. It's hanging in 5 6 millimeter wires from the ceiling. 10 meters above, so easy installation. The guys installed it in 2 days, including everything. So that's quite cool, actually, quite fast, because they don't need to build any structure. They just install the mounting points in the ceiling, put down the wires, build the screen on the floor, lift it up, and then it was installed. So it's really, really cool. We do, as I said, has a lot of cabinets, so we also have a lot of indoor options, more about that on the website, but the one we just saw was the one we were focusing on. On the outdoor, we also have an outdoor portfolio for screens to put outside, which means that the cabinet don't need anything else. It's just weather resistant, so you can just put it outside until minus 40 degrees, most likely for most of these things. This is one of the cabinets we're using. Again, don't remember all these names. Ask Richard over there, and he will help you out on what product is needed. But we do use it, for instance, this is an indoor, but because it's a nice arena, we use an outdoor product to be sure when they are melting the ice and the humidity is getting high, it will not break the screen. This is from Nokia Arena in Tampere in Finland, where we did like 500 meters of perimeter and 200 square meters of LED cube. And of course it can go up and down and also turn 90 degrees if you like. So this is a huge thing. Inside this barrier there's also LED. So this is a crazy project we did up there some time ago. The same product we use for sports arena. And in Sweden there is a lot of sports arenas also going on. This one is from Frankfurt, where we did this together with an architect who had a crazy idea about when you are at football match, of course you cannot turn your head and look this way for the scoreboard when the game is there. So you need it up here so you can easily see what's going on. That's of course a need for everybody. They also put the sound system into this cube so you don't get the sound from behind or from side, which is normally standard in an arena like this, but you get it now from front like a concert. And of course it also have a purpose if you want to remove the roof. So you simply just drag it together into the center. Yeah, and the cube should be lifting anyway for service purpose, so why not just hide the roof inside there and then close the cube. It's pretty spectacular. This one is a 9,000 kilo installation, and the diameter is around, I think it's 173 meters, so it's a lot of weight holding like this. Yeah, but that's how it is. Quite cool. The same product can be used outdoor if you, for instance, like this guy in Spain, own a swimming pool and wants to watch the game while you're there. Then, of course, you're just building a huge TV, which, of course, you can lower down to the ground so the wife don't get angry when she can't see the flowers. So that's quite cool. Yeah. And this is not my summer house, just to... Yeah, it's quite cool. Another fancy product we have, which is quite cool, I also think, is our LED film. This is actually for putting on directly on windows. And as you can see, it's transparent, which means that you can look through it. So from the outside, you can see a picture. From the inside, you can see nothing. But you can still look out, and that's quite cool. So if we're looking into this famous arena, somebody has maybe been there, you can see that there are two screens and something in the middle, which is actually this film. So when you're walking up at Wembley, you can see the advertisement and everything. And also when they borrow the stadium or they lend the stadium for other purpose, they can change the whole contents into these screens and make a nice entrance for everybody. This is quite cool. It looks amazing. Yeah. So this is another use. This is actually in Sweden and Stockholm. Schibsted has implemented this together with Logic IT. And if you look into the LG logo, you can actually see the see-through. You can see into the store. And of course, they can see out. They cannot see the picture from inside. They can only see reflections in the glass because it's put on the inside of the glass. So that's what you get But it's a really, really nice installation, and if you turn it off, people would just walk by without noticing there is anything there. So this is quite impressive. And also a screen that we will see grow more and more into these retail environments where we want to get an experience. Because one of the things when you are getting these experiences also when something happened you cannot see before it's there. So that's we really as human beings like to be surprised in a good way. So don't get behind the door and scare the wife or husband. That will not give good points. Yes. This is another screen we have in Copenhagen, central Copenhagen, our showroom there. Also just to showcase these film. And this is from a rental shop in Austria. So if you go skiing, who wouldn't like to rent their skis inside there? I mean, if you go on the street and see, oh, well, there's a huge screen on the other side, advertisement for ski. And now the window is open in a second again and I can look inside. That's crazy. I think I want to go there and see what skis they have. So this is also becoming more and more daily in our street levels. Yeah, next maybe. This is from UK Zoom office, maybe not a good advertisement when we are on a Teams call, but nevertheless made a meeting space in the center where they want to create a screen on the outside. The Zoom logo is a fixed one, but the colors around is the screen. That's a really nice project they did just before summer this year. So we have been looking into this LSBE, which is the cabinet that covers like 80-85% of all requests, because this is the cabinet that really makes a good price when you compare it to a lot of the Chinese vendors. So this cabinet is nearly 8 centimeters. That's not a lot, but it's nearly 8 centimeters in the depth, which gives us opportunity to choose the components inside, which make us able to reduce the price or at least affect the price of producing. The next one we are going to look at now, the good eye can see that this is only 38 millimeters depth. And that's total, which means it's like 42, 43 millimeters installed on the wall. And that's even hard for a regular display to come that close to the wall. But now the cabinet is so narrow that we cannot choose a lot of different components to put inside. And that's also makes the price up. So we call this our premium cabinet. But this cabinet is the most versatile cabinet I have seen ever. I haven't seen anybody produce a cabinet like this. This comes straight. This comes in full size, 600 x 337, but it also comes in half, 300 x 337. We curve it also both way, convex, concurved. So actually, if you have a room, say, let's say you want a diameter on 4 meters, you just order that and we curve it, real curve it. So not like they are going like in full sizes, just angling. No, this is a real curve. You can see some pictures in a second how we do this. And that really makes some nice installations because we can do this. We also can remove the power supply. So for instance, in a room where this makes some heat coming out, that's most likely because of the lamp, but also because of power supplies. So on this product, we can also remove the power supplies into another room if you like. This could be a critical environment. So you want to control, for instance, fire. If you have fire, then you have the power pack in a different room where you can shut it down or something like that. We also do it in 1,000 and 1,200 nits. Normally it's a 600 and 800 nits cabinet, depending on how you offer it or how you order it. And then of course it has the EMC classes, the fire protection, and also you can do the 90 degrees corners. On this one you can also do a 70 degrees corners if you like. So it does not have to be a 90, you can choose wherever you want to go with this one. So this is actually our most versatile cabinet, which can be used to almost everything. It has a price to be that versatile, but it's still a very good cabinet. Some of the installations could be like this. This is from a shopping mall in Spain, where they in the beginning wanted a screen 12 meters high, 6 meters wide. And then it ended up like this after the design department, as we saw on Salesforce earlier, got into the discussion and they want to talk about how we could do stuff like this. So they ended up with a solution like this, where they got these 3 circular screens hanging underneath each other. Then we are back also to the whole beginning of the story where we were talking about hanging objects. This is not for commercial only, this is also to entertain people. Also get a screen that's possible to view 360 degrees. So regardless where you are in the center, you can see these screens. They do also, now they have started playing around, they also want to curve the other way. So they put up another 3 screens like this in the same shopping mall, just a different center. So they got really excited about this. And this is all done by this versatile LSC screen. Very, very cool solutions. To show, we also do the corners. This is the 19 degrees corners. They don't do it for anamorphic. They just think that it would be nice to cover the corner also. So when you get into the room, you see this fantastic screen. This is a curved screen, how we do this. And now you can see the cabinets are only half size. You cannot see that because you have not seen a full size. But this is a half size cabinet. And when you put on a picture, it looks like this. And if you do a big one, it looks like this. So who couldn't imagine a nice conference room with this? Now the screen is coming out in the room and being a part of the conference room, and just stop being a big black spot on the wall. That also makes a huge difference for this. So that's actually quite nice when they are doing screens like this. We often, more and more often, hear people asking for other things than just a straight wall, end of the wall. So yeah, that's how it is. In Helsinki on MTV3 Studio, which is the commercial TV studio in Finland, we did this installation some time ago. I spent like 3 months in this studio. I think, no, not last year, but the year before. I was there nearly day and night when we were doing this 360-degree studio. This is built only by LED. If it's not screen, then it's light. It can change immediately in seconds. All cameras are robotic cameras moving around, or sky dollies as they call it, cameras moving in the sky. So this TV station actually benefit from this by having 22 production studios, and now they have 2. Because they can change the set in like a second. The next benefit was that they could actually run this studio by 1 or 2 guys only. And when they were doing production back in the day, there was 15, 20 guys working in the studio. But now they have a guy inside the studio handling the microphones and stuff like that. And then they have 1 guy in the gallery just pushing next, because everything is programmed. So the robot camera is driving to the next position, getting the right height, getting the right focus length, and everything will be okay. And the content is just loading in by the screen. And now the studio is red, on the next it's purple, on the next it's yellow. So they can actually change it as fast as they want to. This is a sports studio they have. This is the second studio. So the one is the 360 studio where they have like 5 spots they can do production in. And this one is also where we are looking at now, having jet set seats so they can actually have an audience inside the studios. It's quite clever. So LED screens for broadcast is next level, 100%. And in my time for the past 3 years I have been in LG, we have offered 7 television studios. So this is what they are looking for now. So be aware of these guys. They are often quite easy to work with because they have the whole design process inside house, because they are used to do set designs for the next TV show. So often very, very easy to do. Then I showed you by mistake a little bit before. We also do special products. This is a corporate it's the corporate house, and we are in the food hall. They have decided to do a food hall, so you as an employee can go down in like different restaurants, choose what main course you would like to eat. And they are not serving beef in that one, I can promise you. So this is the fish department. So of course they want the aquarium in front of the counter. So that's quite cool. Also done by the LSB cabinet. LSCB, sorry. LSCB. Well, that's all about our, let's say, bread and butter better bread and butter products now, which are the products moving fast. So now we're going to talk a little bit about micro LED, and I'll just go change this one to another presentation, because some of you might have heard about Samsung the Wall. And that's because they put a shitload of money into a marketing campaign for like 2 years in a row, where they just were advertising over and over by the wall. And as I said earlier, yes, we owe them a big thank you, because they really put the eyes on micro LED. The story about micro LED is that back in the days, the huge guys in LED agreed on, if we go below 1 millimeter, we call it micro LED, which means 1 millimeter from LED sender to LED sender. Nowadays, Samsung has blown that up, because they are building a 2.5 micro LED the wall now. So it's no longer below 1.0. But that doesn't matter, because micro LED, end of day, is the technology how you produce the LED. And if we look into regular LED, which has certain different names, most likely they call it SMD, single mount diode, which is imagine you have a cup, and down in that cup you put 4 diodes, a white, a red, a green, and a blue. And then you have a package. These packages you put in a lot of them, and then you get a screen. But on a micro LED, we use something we call COB, which means chip on board. So chip on board is the way that we produce micro LED. So nowadays, micro LED is no longer like micro in that way. It's just the way we produce it is micro, and it's all done by a microscope. We are still, when we are talking magnet, as we call it, so every time you see or hear the word magnet in LG, it means micro LED. There is a small presentation behind me saying things about how it's produced. You can see the layers and stuff like that. But what it's all about is, on regular, you only have an open LED, which means you can actually feel the lamp. On micro LED, it is hidden behind different layers, so you cannot touch the LED. And then there is a small thing, because there is a thing called GOB, or glue on board, which is actually just a regular LED, SMD LED, where they put a glue in front of. So it has a benefit, because you can easily clean it, but it's very difficult to repair, because it's all now in glue. So you need to remove all the glue first, repair the lamps, put glue back on, and it's hard to get the same surface again. So it's a little bit tricky on that. But on micro LED, there is actually built in layers. So this is not in glue. So when we're repairing, we're just removing the layers, repairing the lamps, put the layers back on again. So that's the thing about micro LED. This is actually explaining the difference, where you have the normal LED over here on this side, and on the other side you have the COB, which the LED is mounted directly on the circuit board, and the other one is mounted into small package, and they are installed on the circuit. It's very technical and doesn't matter. The thing about picture quality, you might know that if you've been in the business for some while, is you get a better picture if you have a good black level. So the better black level you have, the better picture options you have to get in the other way. And if you are putting LED next to each other, very, very narrow, of course you get a better black level. And you also put in these layers, so you can also now control the way light is reflecting back from the screen. Very technical, but this is what it's all about. So this will give you better colors, this will give you better black, this will give you a better viewing angle, and so on when you do the COB. So that's the benefit. And of course also, when you talk about picture quality, some will state that the lower pixel pitch you get, the better quality you get. But I'm not sure this is the way to see that, because if we, for instance, say 1 millimeter screen, if we put that into a stadium and we are looking like 60 meters away, 1 millimeter would be ridiculous, because 10 millimeter will do the same job and you would not be able to see which screen was which screen. You will just have the problem about supporting all the pixels, the size on the 1 millimeter screen. So that's the thing. So end of day, when you're choosing screen and size, it's all about distance, viewing distance. So that's it. Micro LED is the next thing coming in. So this is where everybody is aiming for, and there is like racing to the moon who can make the lowest pixel pitch. On the moment we are at 0.6. I heard somebody during ISE last year telling that there is a 0.45 somebody has produced. I have never seen it, but if it's out there, I will be more than happy to see it, but I haven't not seen it yet. So I think we are still in lead on that. So we are on 0.6 at the moment. What we most likely sell in the Nordics is 0.7, 0.9 and 1.2 millimeter. And that's still very low. And now that Samsung has launched the 2.5, I think that we will do a 1.8 very soon. Also to be compatible. And that's of course all about price, because when you are on the low end of the pixel pitch, it costs a lot of money because it's microscope work and so on. Yeah, so this is it. Immediately when you see a magnet screen or micro LED screen, you can see the difference in the picture. It's more calm, it's more easy, the colors are better. And it has a better way of affecting your eyes also. So this is very good for control room, for instance. Very good. Of course, we use our newest processor inside, so we help tuning the pictures. Many of you know that if you have an LG TV at your living room home, you have the same processor inside. It helps to improve the picture in quality, colors, and so on. And then alignment is of course a huge issue when you have small pixel pitch, because then you do not have what we call set angle is coming in and out. It cannot be huge different, then you can easily see that there is a problem. But we have invented a system we call magnet flat, which gives us the opportunity to do large adjustment for the whole panel and not just small points like a lot of the other vendors do. I hear some of the screens in 200 inch has more than 2,000 set angle adjustments. So imagine aligning that, that's a disaster. Yes, as I said, good for intelligent and inspiring spaces and control rooms and so on. This is still in the beginning in the Nordics, magnets or micro LED, but we do more and more often see these things coming into ask for offers at our office also.
Yeah, requests are coming more and more frequently on micro LED.
Yes.
So yeah, but still majority is the standard SMD or
LSBE, the premium, no, the budget thing or the fighter thing or whatever we call it, is covering 85%, something like that. Then we have a lot of special cases coming in also. So that's quite cool. Well, let's move on a little bit. This is my department, or not my department, but what I am a part of. So we do have a LED EU team. So we are based in Frankfurt, and then we are lent out for the different regions. So I am covering the Nordics, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, and so on. Which means if you guys are selling LED to somebody, I could come and support you. And I can do it in what we call 4 steps. And this is all the way from the concept consulting, which means you have just hang up the phone and say, oh fuck, what are we going to do? Call me or call Richard. Then we can start this process of finding out what is the product, what size, how do we do it. If you like, you decide if we should be there or not. Or we can go into the design, help you making materials. We can go to the end client, the customer, and present. We can do it together, or you can do it alone. We can prepare you, or we can prepare together and go to the client and present the offer. We can also help you on pre-installation. So if you have a site where you say, okay, well, should we do it on the wall? Should it be hanging or whatever? We can also help you out on this. And we can also help your installation partners. Train them, certify them, and so on, so they can do the installation properly. And number 4 is we can also train on-site people. So the end customer, if they have a facility department, they can be first-line support. We can train them as well. Also, we can train the installation partners also to do maintenance on these screens. So these are the 4 steps, and we don't need to be in all 4. We can do whatever you like, where you feel that we are fitting in. So if you only want to help us do the pre-installation and the training, and then the SI can do it by themselves, that's okay by us. You don't need a certification to be able to sell. We do see that you have a certification to install, because that makes it lots easier if you know what you're doing. There is, of course, a huge manual you can go through, but as me, myself, and the rest of the technical people, we do not do manuals unless we got paid for it or something like that. I don't know what it takes to read a manual, but we do not do that normally, most of us. This is what's happening when we are doing installation inspection. We are not doing the installation, so you cannot say you and me, then we are 3 installation guys. No, then there are 2 installation guys and I am the supervisor, so I'm only the guy watching that this is going right. And I'm also the guy that can be asked, what can we do in this situation? And are we using the product right? Is there anything wrong? How come this doesn't fit or whatever? There is a lot of things, installations coming in, the guys are doing. We are supposed to be 10 guys in Europe. At the moment we are 7. So we are running a bit fast. As I said, we do around 250 installations a month. We are not there because we have certified partners all over the world. So, of course, some of them are handling by themselves. And then, do we have problems? Yes, we do have problems. Not on all cases, not nearly all cases, but we do have problems in some cases because, end of day, this is still produced far, far away, assembled somewhere in Europe, and then shipped to some on-site. So, of course, there can be errors in these chains. And we also have these from time to time. Not many, but we do have some. What do we do then? Then we are a huge back office in HQ Korea. We also have some European knowledge around who can help us out. So in my career for the past 3 years, we have never had a case we couldn't solve in some time. But of course there are errors from time to time, but we do what we can to solve it. And that's the thing about being LG, be a big partner in LED also. So that's one of the things also you get an advantage if you want to do business with us. So that's very nice. So you've seen different installation things, which also showcases that we don't not only doing 16:9 screens, we're doing a lot of things in many different sizes, in many positions, in many setups. Some of them are running conference room, some are running advertisement, or do as they call it out there. There's a lot of things going on. So this is quite cool. Do we have any questions? We can always adjust.
No, Evelina wants us to share the contact details. I'm not sure if she means our contact details. Yeah.
We can do that, of course.
I'm doing that now in the
that's
chat.
good. And we go,
Yeah, I have a question about power consumption.
Yeah.
Micro-LED compared with the SMB.
Power consumption is a hot potato for everybody.
Yeah.
And power consumption end of day is also measured in full power, of course, and then average power. And normally micro-LED is using less power than normal because of the lamp size, which means you get less light out. So that's also two things that come along. So the smaller you get the lights or the lamps, the less nits you can get out, and that's also nits are equal to consumption. So the more nits you're getting out, the more consumption you're using, or power consumption. Yeah, so that's it. But that's another tricky part when you're trying to compare LED size, because nits is the brightness. For those who don't know that, that's the brightness, the amount of light coming out of the screen. You can measure that normally from a meter, but sometimes they're measuring half a meter, and sometimes they're measuring right after you have produced the diode. So it is like when you produce the diode, the brightness is 30-40% higher than the first 300 hours. It burns very rapidly down, then it goes for like 10-20 years in a line a row. So depends on when you're measuring things. We sometimes see LED producers coming out and say, well, this is a 17,000 nits screen. It might not be, because the market standard is around 12,000 maximum. But I'm pretty sure if you're measuring for like half a meter the day after you produce, yeah, you might be able to reach 17,000, but that will be for the next 200 hours maximum. And then you'll be down to like 10, 12, something like that. So it's also a thing about if you only can find one product having these specifications, then please double check before you go and buy it. Otherwise you will be disappointed. And I mean, producing LED is not a huge thing anymore. Everybody knows how to do it. So now it's only a thing about how fast can you produce it with less material as possible, because that makes the cheapest LED. So it's all about setting a quality level and say, okay, where do you want to put the quality level? So if you speed up the production, the quality level goes down. If you use less material or unclean material, the same quality will go down. So that's what it's all about. Everybody knows how to produce LED at the moment. Yeah, that's very good. Next, what is the next big thing? If you went to Barcelona last year, in February or whenever we were there, January, we showcased something called kinetic LED. And kinetic LED is actually LED moving. So this is the next thing coming in. We have this huge piece in the left side of the picture, which was showcased down in Barcelona. And that's a new thing about these things we start talking about, having an experience when you are visiting things. So suddenly the screen is moving also as a part of the show. And this will be the next huge things. People are working all over the globe about in evolving stuff or things that moves in different directions that they can control together with graphics. So it looks like things are jumping, playing or whatever. So this is really becoming big. Again, the Nordics are not first movers, so let's expect that in 5-6 years, something like that. I was thinking we will see it in Europe very soon. We do have a few installations already. And again, this could be for landmark objects and also of our experience. So it could be exhibitions or airports or wherever they want to do that. If you have really first mover clients, they would probably ask about this. Feel free to ask us. We do have knowledge into this and we do have good partners we work together with in these environments also. So this is also possible for us to do. So you don't have to build everything yourself. There's a video here showing this one we showcased at ISE last year, and it looks quite impressive. On the first day in ISE, this was shared on social media 100,000 times. So this was quite eye-catching piece. This one is like 8 meters high or something like that, close to 4 meters wide. And it's around €2 million if you want to purchase. So that's quite cool. If you put it together with good graphic, it could really look impressive. Really, really impressive. So anyone saw that on Barcelona? Yeah. Okay. You might also have a video on your phone then. Exactly. That's good. Very good. Yeah. So this is a nice one. It's built by motors, of course, moving the LED screen back and forth into a huge structure. Yeah, so that's quite cool. Really cool. We do have built, 5 of these so far for different vendors, indoor, outdoor, and that's for the guys who really wants to make an impact somewhere. So this is next level 3D. Screens. The 3D screens are still new and still also relevant, but this is really next level.
A question about you said that how to repair the LEDs.
Yeah.
Why do you have to repair them? Why don't you replace them?
But you do replace them in the beginning because you have your spare parts. So what you do is actually replace one by one. So if you have a broken tile, you just remove it, put in a new one, send the other one to repair so you can use it when it's coming back. But what we see actually when it comes to repair is most likely that the errors are coming during installation because we are a little bit fragile with the stuff, or we are not taking good enough care. So what we most often see is when you have installed a screen, it will take a long time before the first error occurs, unless somebody is driving into the screen with something, moving a chair, a table, or whatever into the screen. So most likely errors are there from the beginning when we unpacking, are not careful enough doing installation. So, but spare parts are there also to change, and then we just send it to the workshop. They do repair it, and then you're getting it back as a spare part again.
But why do you do that process to sending it to the repair shop? Why don't you just buy a new?
Yeah, that's because that's a good one. No, but that's the thing. When you're producing LED, you do it in batch, and these batches are color equal, which means that you cannot buy an LED screen today and buy a new one in 5 years and put them together. Then the color uniformity will never be the same again. It's very difficult to do that, even if you do camera calibration. So that's why we do repair sometimes to get a more uniform screen. Also, when you do the repair. So that's it. And also, I mean, a thing about the green story is also that you cannot just throw everything out every time it's broken. If it can be fixed, then most likely it's better to fix it than just to throw it away. Of course, if the panels get deformed or anything like that, we cannot repair it, so something will be disposed of during the process, but most likely we repair. And I think we do not have a repair center in the Nordic yet because we do not have so many things to repair. So we are actually sending to Poland at the moment. I think we recently, last month or month before, we are using also a vendor in Sweden, Spacetronic, isn't it? Yeah, Spacetronic is doing repair also. But I think it's only as a trial for now. Repair time is around 4 to 7 days now, so that's quite fast also if you do have panels that is damaged one way or another. Yeah, okay, good.
2 minutes left.
That's it?
Yes.
Well, 2 slides left. No, how to become a master in LG. Very, very easy. Just go to one of these spaces. We will share. What we do have is a configurator. So you can go online when you want to mess around with the screen and see what you fit on the wall. I have my client go and say, I have like 4 meters times 10 meters. What can I do? Go and build your own LED. Get a nice proposal. You may have seen this from other guys also. We do have a partner portal in the middle. And that's where you find all the high resolution pictures for your presentation. That's where you find all the spec sheets, all the leaflets and so on. Just go in, sign up. You'll get a mail and then you have access. Quite easy. That's very good for marketing material. If you want to read things about, if you want good words about to put into your offer, if you want the green story, all about environment zone, that's the same place. Then we do have a tech space. That's more for the guys who are carrying tools. They can go in there. That's where we are pushing out new firmware, stuff like that. So this is one of the things. Then, of course, you can get a certification. We do have 2 ways of certification. We can certify the company or the person. And we can do it online or we can do it on site. So we don't want to carry you down to Frankfurt or whatever, do a 2-day course, and when you're coming back, the only thing you remember was the size of the beer and how warm it was on the terrace. So we want to do it on site. So if you buy a screen, as I said earlier, I will be there helping you, and that's a part of the certification also. So when you have done a few screens, I will put you into a certification, and then you will get that probably if you're good. So that's how we do it. Great. We will share all the links and everything. So thank you.
Thank you.
Tack så mycket Lars och Rickard.
Lars mest, jag satt mest här.
I alla fall. Mycket inspirerande tycker jag. Allt från isbjörnen och ner till vanliga konferensrummen. Imponerande. Om 2 veckor precis så har vi vårt Expo den 17 ute på Eriksberg. Så vi välkomna igen. Hälsa på oss och LG.
Ja. Då kan ni få se lite av de här standardprodukterna, för det är ju ändå de vi oftast jobbar med dagligen. Då har vi dem så ni kan se dem live och inte bara på en presentation också.
Kanske kommer på fler frågor också, så ta det med oss och med Rickard och personalen i måndagen där. Så,
Yeah, and also if you have specific cases, just bring them along. Let's talk about it. I mean, you're not locked into us because you tell us about it. And for me, I have nothing to do with sales, for instance. So I do not know who they are talking to and who they are selling to. So I'm kind of independent. So you can easily ask me questions and say, can we use this or this product for this case? And then I'm not running to another company and say, hey, I just heard somebody over here asking for that case. So that's very separated. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask. As you have seen now with Lars' fantastic presentation, we can do more or less everything. So don't be afraid to ask, even if it feels like, oh, this is an overwhelming project for me, we will support you. Mm-hmm. We want to do the big, nice project as well.
Also, I think there is another important message is, if you're getting something back from us that are way off, let us know, because otherwise we cannot change it. Because we are just offering what we think are reality. But if you see something different, tell us. I mean, that's okay. That's what expected to come back.